How are you doing today?
Good mate, how are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. So, first question I want to ask you is what got you into boxing?
I went to watch my mate fight, and then uh, quite like the atmosphere, and thought I'd give it a go. And I needed a bit of toughening up when I was younger, so it was just part and parcel of that as well.
Okay, so tell me through your amateur career.
Um, yeah, I did most of my amateur boxing as a junior. I only had a couple of senior fights. So I joined the army, but I just joined Lydney Boxing Club in the Forest of Dean, and we would I was basically doing what I did now, fighting every weekend up and down the country, as an amateur boxer, really. And then yeah, but I always had a more of a professional style, so I was more suited to the pros, really.
Okay, so I was looking on BoxRec at your career when I found out you're coming on, and it says you got a fight on February 24th against Bobby Morrow. So, is that not happening?
Nah, it's not happening. I was meant to. I had loads of fights booked, but at the start of the year, but because I've decided to hang the gloves up, and I was going to have one more on the 25th of March, and then that's me done.
Okay, so on that, your final fight's on March 18th against Ryan Hibbert. How are you going into this fight? How are you training? How are you preparing, knowing that this is your last time ever stepping in the ring?
It's on March 25th, and I'm
25th, sorry.
fighting Seamus Devlin now.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's just I don't really do anything too special. I just sort of tick over and fight. Really, I'll do a little bit more for this fight because I'm not fighting on the build up to it. But usually I get my ring fitness by fighting, but I'll have to do a little bit of sparring this time. So yeah, but can't really train too hard these days. My shoulders are knackered, and yeah, yeah, I can't train. I have to train smart, not hard.
Okay, so that kind of brings me on to my next question. Why are you retiring at only 32 years old?
They say it's only 32 years old, like, but in boxing years, that's quite old, especially for someone who's done as many fights and has got as many miles on the clock as I have. Um, I've been doing it nearly 20 years in total, um, and literally for the last 10 years, I've been doing it solidly. So it's like um, it's starting to take its toll on my body now. I've got sore shoulders, elbows a bit sore, my back's a bit sore. I was finding it a bit harder to get to the gym, a bit of motivation, and so it just feels like it's the right time to give it all up. And I wanted to go out on my terms, and I didn't want to have boxing retire me. I wanted to leave boxing with only good memories. So now's the time.
Okay, so do you think if you ever got an opportunity to fight for like a decent paycheck, do you think you'd take that, or is that you done?
That's me done, mate. Literally, I'm not. There's nothing that can get me out of retirement now. My mind's fully made up. Um, yeah, so I'm actually really looking forward to hanging the gloves up. It would be a sad day, but but be a sad day, but um, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so as you said, you've had a very solid career with over 169 fights. Out of that 169 fights, what would you say your toughest fight has been?
It's a tough question now because they're all case by case, and some of the fights I've not been that fit. I've not lived the life. I've taken one day's notice. I've been hungover. Some of them. Um, but in terms of like top operators I box, I'd say there's four at the moment. Um, there's Lerone Richard, Zach Parker, Callum Simpson, Andre Disgazy, with the top four that stand out to me, in terms of what they have achieved and will achieve, and how difficult I found it in there with those guys. So yeah, they're the top four guys at the moment.
Okay, so you have a documentary about you called Welcome to the Pros. How did that come about?
Just a little similar to what you done. There's someone slid in my DMs and asked me if they wanted to speak to me about my career and want to make a little documentary on it. So there's actually two documentaries out, but the other one of the first one that was filmed hasn't really been released as such yet, as far as I know. But yeah, they're literally exactly the same as what most people do. Is literally everyone's reachable these days on social media and stuff. So that's just how they went about it.
Okay, so where can you watch the documentary?
It's in my Instagram bio, the one of them, and then the other one's been sent out to film festivals. I think they want some YouTube channels to get hold of it and put it out, but I'm not really sure. I need to chase them up.
Okay, so you said earlier that sometimes you'd be fine on days' notice. Would that literally be you get a phone call and you drive to the venue and fight?
Yeah, that has happened before. Yeah, like for me, like I've taken fights on like a day's notice, so I've had like time to sleep on it and that. But there are stories around the boxing world of people turning up at the venue and ask to say, "Oh, I've got your kit. Do you fancy fighting?" So yeah, that did actually happen to me back in December, but but the fight didn't happen in the end.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about the whole YouTube boxing situation because there's a pretty big fight coming up between Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. What do you think about YouTube boxing as a whole?
I mean, everyone's entitled to try boxing, and I think it's good now that they've sort of separated themselves from. I mean, they haven't fully separated themselves from it, but when they was fighting on the same bills as pros and getting more limelight, then that didn't really sit right with me. Um, but but now it's sort of like KSI's made his own promotional company. He's doing well for himself. He's only putting like YouTube stars and novices on against each other and stuff like that. So I've got to be honest, I've not really given it that much thought. It's just a bit like everyone wants to try boxing in some capacity, and they've gone off piste and tried it differently, and it seems to be working for them. So I've got to tip my hat to them for that. But people like Jake Paul, I give, but initially again didn't sit right with me this Jake Paul trying it, but I've got to give him his props because like we all fall in love with boxing and we all take our different paths in the boxing. And Jake Paul's fallen in love with boxing as much as I have, and you can tell the way he talks about it. He's passionate about it. He probably takes the sport more seriously than I do, and he's doing all right for himself. So I can only tip my hat to him at this point.
That's really all the questions I have for you, mate. So thank you for taking the interview. Really do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no worries, mate.
Good luck with your fight and happy retirement.
Cheers, pal. All the best.
You too, mate. You too.